It is the Corner Booth Podcast. Here as we preview the Class B Amateur Baseball State Tournament here back at Cadwell Park in Mitchell for 2026. I'm Travis Kriens, Landon, Dierks, Marcus Traxler, Mitchell Republic. A lot of time will be spent over the next 10, 11 days at the 94th Annual South Dakota Amateur Baseball State Tournament right here at Cadwell.
12 days. You know it.
Well,
we know it.
You're projecting here that there could be a championship in area team in the title game here.
Here's
you might
the
be
deal,
there regardless.
Travis.
You'll be there regardless.
We're covering it no matter who's in it.
If it's Lesterville and Tabor, you'll be there.
Yep.
We'll take a look at the bracket. We're not going to break down every single game, but we do have coverage as we tape Wednesday night, opening night of the tournament. The Parks and Mudcats open up against Elk Point. Kimball White Lake with those old veterans from Valley Springs. Say, what is this team about? Valley Springs. We'll have both games tonight. KORN News Radio, FM 101.3 and AM 1490. Clint Greenway, he drew the lucky straw, gets both games here tonight, starting at 5:30.
Well, and I don't know what the forecast necessarily has dialed in other than hot.
Beautiful.
But could be rain delay content. If you're listening to us during rain delay, we're glad.
That's it. We'll piece it together. I've got the Alexandria game Thursday night, the late game versus Crofton. Hopefully that can get started sometime before 8:30. Probably not, but that'd be great. Late starts, early starts. Let's start with the bracket as a whole. Anything stick out? There's always that one matchup. This is the premier matchup of the first round. Maybe two top 5 teams facing off against each other. Any matchup, Marcus, you look at and say, that is the game here of this opening week.
I mean, I think the last game of the state tournament last year being one of the first games this year in the Parkston Rays and Hartford Humboldt Gamecocks, even though neither one of those teams is necessarily, predicted to win it all this year, the fact that they're playing each other in the first round, I think is interesting. And neither one was even ranked at the end of the season in the top 10. So that's, as Landon wrote, MitchellRepublic.com, there's a litany of first round games that get your attention. But I think just the fact that you had the state championship rematch is happening in round one is very captivating. And then that's not even counting really the first of 3 absolute rippers on Saturday in terms of quality of games. So I'll let Landon speak about it because he wrote about it, but just the lineup there is really good. I think these 2 games on Wednesday night could be pretty good games, particularly Elk Point and Parkston. We've talked a little bit about how the Mudcats have kind of gotten that infusion of youth and talent in their roster. Elk Point has been high school and Legion been a pretty quality program as of late. Now some of that might be manifesting itself in their amateur team. So I'm kind of excited to see that very first game as well.
Landon, what did you see looking at the bracket, especially that Saturday, 3 really good games?
Yeah, I think at least 3 really good games on that Saturday. I mean, Marcus talked about the Gamecocks and the Rays. I mean, in that same 4-team pod, you have Winter Cologne and the Del Rapids Mudcats. That was a first-round game last year. It was a semifinal game just a couple of years ago. I remember, being in the conference room when it was drawn as the first-round matchup last year. There was
a reaction.
There were kind of some audible gasps on the crowd. It maybe was a little bit more subdued than that this year, but still, I mean, just 2 of the, if you can say like premier brands or just recognizable teams that typically go very deep in this tournament. I mean, before last year, Winter Cologne had been to the quarters like 6 or 7 years in a row, semifinals beyond that a few of those times as well. I mean, I think you're looking at any 4 of those teams in that pod could be, as a finalist-worthy team. And then the first game of the evening session, Castlewood-Canova, I think is potentially very, very good as well. Castlewood's a team that's shown up big time in the last couple of state tournaments. Canova is another one of those, perennial powers. I just think Saturday is going to be some fantastic baseball.
I mean, we can kind of hate it when we're talking about who's, it stinks that you have number 4 and number 6 playing each other in Canova and Castlewood, and we've seen Winter Cologne and Del Rapids Mudcats, play. So why are we seeing that in round 1? But it also gives this opening round a lot of excitement. And if you're just a pure baseball fan with maybe no rooting interest, which I don't think that exists really in the amateur tournament, you're going to be excited to see these games. And so I think in some ways you can kind of mutter or be disgruntled about how the bracket's made, but you can't argue we're going to have some really good games here in the opening round.
It was a surprise last year, Parks and Rays and the Hartford Humboldt Gamecocks, 2 surprising teams that made it. One's going to be knocked out Saturday. A second could be knocked out in that second round. I think everybody expects the Del Rapids Mudcats to make it out of that little 4-team pot. If not, maybe the Parks and Rays go on another run here. But kind of like last year, there's going to be at least those 2 championship teams. They could be knocked out very, very early. If not, then it's going to be another magical run. So you got 2 different sides to the coin there. The Rays knocked off PBR last year, so I get their chance at potentially Del Rapids. And Winter Cologne going to be a sentimental favorite as well. They haven't had such a good year as they have, but if you put it all together here, Winter Cologne, they got a chance to knock off maybe the best team in this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Winter Cologne, we've seen how good they can be in the past, and they've been inconsistent this year, but I mean, that's bound to be happen given what happened to them in the offseason and how terrible, things went. So I just think, they are going to be a sentimental favorite, no question. And
am I right in saying they beat Alexandria twice?
Yeah, they beat them. Yeah.
I think that's 2 of Alexandria's 3 losses. So Winter Cologne is still a team that should not be trifled with.
Yeah. So, definitely the upside potential, I guess, with them. Parks and Rays, remember we talked about it last year, how they had not beaten a Corn Belt team, and then they beat like 3 or 4 of them last year in the road to the state championship. So will they necessarily be phased by playing the Gamecocks and or the Mudcats in the first 2 rounds? I don't think so. So that could be a really interesting, first couple games if either one of those teams from the Sunshine are able to get it going.
You look at the top of the bracket, Del Rapids PBR, they'll play the first morning game, 11 a.m. on Thursday. They've got a good matchup versus Cologne. And then in the bottom half of the upper tier of the bracket, you have Alexandria. They play Crofton, Nebraska. That's a good matchup there. Crofton, they're always one of those teams that play deep into the tournament. So Alexandria and PBR, do they meet in that semifinal? Any teams in their side of the bracket that could give either of those teams some trouble here along the way, Landon?
Whenever I see Garrettson in the bracket, I circle them. I just think they're a really quality team from maybe a league that we don't see a lot, the state line. But man, I mean, they come out and they routinely play good baseball whenever I've seen them in my 5 years here covering the state tournament. So I definitely think, if we get a PBR Garrettson second round game, that would be kind of a whale of a second round matchup. And certainly I think Garrettson is capable of giving PBR a game and potentially even winning that game and going on a run. I mean, I think if I recall, Garrettson was in the title game, a couple years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, and maybe even in the semifinals a year or 2 before that. So a really good program there. I'm not going to completely discount the winner of that upper pod that plays here tonight on Wednesday. Whether that's I would think it's probably either the Mudcats or the Kimball Lake Nationals, but certainly I could make a case again for almost any of those 4. I think if that one of those teams gets on a run, they could be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, Kimball Lake, we've talked about them in the past. They have very good pitching, and that's going to be the backbone of whatever they're able to do. If it is Parks and Mudcats, Kimball Lake in the second round, that would be a fun game
packed house
to see.
It would be a good crowd.
Garrettson has won 11 games in a row, and they won their district title game over Larchwood 20-17. So
that is sick.
I think offensively, they're there. Now, I'd be concerned about the 17 runs allowed, but I think if we get PBR Garrettson in the second round, that'd be another splendid matchup as well. I do think the softest part of this bracket is the 8 teams where Alexandria is at, and I think Alexandria has a very good chance.
Is their toughest game the first game?
I would argue that it's going to be whoever they play in round 2 if they get there.
Yeah.
Wynot or Lake Norden. Both those teams have 11 wins. Crofton only has 7.
Did Volga win the EDL?
They did. They did land in there 14-7.
Potentially Volga could be there in, would that be the quarterfinals?
Yep.
That might be tricky as well, but I agree with Marcus that I think if you had to pick one of the 4 quadrants, that is the most favorable for the best team at least on paper, it is that second quadrant where Alexandria is.
And maybe for the 1 seed, that's the way it should be. Reward you for a good regular season.
Not how it works, Travis.
But here it did. It should work this way.
It doesn't.
And it has worked this way this year, at least.
Well, can we just say, I thought this was a nice note, and I'm glad they mentioned it right when they started the draw on Sunday. For the first time, or at least for the first time while I've been here, they added another stipulation to the drawing process where district champions and district runner-ups were all barred from playing each other. previously you could have a district champion play another district runner-up. The only stipulation really was you couldn't have the same district teams playing each other in that first round. I think that was a positive change. I've written at least one column about it in the past where I thought, or I introduced that as like I don't understand why we don't quite do this. It seems like it would help balance out the bracket a little more. And I mean, kudos to them. I think the bracket that they drew on Sunday because of that protocol, I really like this bracket. I think it sets up well for a number of teams. And I think what you want out of a good tournament bracket is not necessarily easy paths for the best teams, but the potential for the best teams to meet later in the tournament when it means more. And I think we got that in this one.
You've got those little pods. It's, I guess, the middle of the bracket, and we talked about one of these 4 teams has to get to the quarterfinals. So you've got Groton and Lenox, and then Salem and Volga. One of those teams could play Alexandria if they get that far in the quarterfinals next week. And then those next games, you've got Wessington, Springs, and Clark, and then you've got Tabor and Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon sneaks in, so Tabor, I'm sure, likes their little quadrant there. One of those 4 teams has to get to the quarterfinals. Mount Vernon gets in, Platt does not. Maybe
Mount Vernon is sneaky.
Mild upset. We talked about them maybe a month ago with all their hard luck losses, and Platt could not quite get the job done in the tournament. But Mount Vernon, they get Tabor on that opening round late on one of those first nights, and maybe this is their chance to put together a couple victories here.
As you just said, they've been there with a lot of teams all year long, and their record is not impressive in terms of just looking at it on paper. I think
5 wins.
Only have 5 wins. They could have about 5 to 7 more if just a couple bounces of the ball went different for them during the regular season. And you saw the ball bounce the other way and in their favor in the district tournament a little bit. They had that nice come from behind win over Platt. I believe it was in the, whatever you want to, not the elimination bracket, but the
winner goes in, loser, has to keep playing.
Clincher, state qualifier game.
Qualifier game, thank you. And that sent Platt into an unenviable position where they had to play winner Colombe in the last chance game, and we saw how that went. That was that was almost like a state tournament type game that you'd expect in a first round that you had to play just to reach this stage. So I kind of like Mount Vernon just in terms of they got nothing. Like no one's going to be expecting them to make a run, but they've shown they can compete with just about anybody.
I mean, I would not be surprised if they were able to beat Tabor and then all of a sudden they're in the quarterfinals with 7 wins. So because it's very clear they have the talent. They just have been snake bitten a little bit during the year. But Tabor has a lot of pitching as well, so that's going to be a big time challenge for them right off the bat.
You'd imagine Riley Rothschadel will probably be on the mound there in that first game.
And when we talk about potential rest in that scenario, so then you're playing Friday, and then they wouldn't have to play again until Tuesday. So
double it up.
That's a pretty good situation for them to be in for Tabor, because they're a team that I think has a good amount of pitching, but they're going to want to be able to maximize their rest as well. And I mean, that's looking at the very top of the bracket, Parkson, Mudcats, and Kimball White Lake. If we think those teams are going to win, they would be in the best scenarios in terms of rest and being able to rotate. So
Canova,
on that, we talk about how formidable Mitchell and Ethan Price can be for Kimball White Lake. I didn't quite think about it in those terms, but they get that extra. If they win and then they continue to win, they'll have that extra night from being in the first little pod here. That could be big for Kimball White Lake.
Canova did get in. They didn't leave much doubt on Saturday. They beat Madison 10-0, but it came down to that game. Madison did not get in, and then you had they lost to PBR and they lost to Flanders, so it's not like they a big upset either way. They lost to some quality teams, but usually Canova, it does not come down to that final Saturday
had to sweat it
to whether or not they get in. So Canova and Castlewood, really good matchup in that first round here over the weekend.
Proves life can come at you fast too, because I think Canova was in the winners bracket semifinal, right?
Yep.
Against one of the Del Rapids
Gamecocks
teams.
them off, or no, they
was it one of the Del Rapids
PBR knocked them off, and then you lose to Flandreau, and you're like, all right, it comes down to us and Madison.
Yeah, they had gotten a situation where then they had 3 games to make the state tournament. Well, they took it all the way to the third game, which is not necessarily by design, but they ended up sneaking in anyway. And so I think I'm as excited about Canova Castlewood as almost any game here.
I think that's a really, really good game.
I mean, that's going to be terrific. Castlewood has, they've been a beneficiary of going from a 2-team town. I mean, they had a lot of Watertown guys on that A team previously, but now they're just one team. And Watertown, much like Mitchell, does not have a Class A team. So they're benefiting. A lot of those guys get to play with Castlewood. And so I think that'll be an exciting game. Canova, it's a lot of the core that we've come to know over the years. And so I'm excited to see what they might be able to.
The law firms of Miller, Gassman, and Gassman.
And Miller. And so I think that'll be a fun game. And then, for just pure randomness, the fourth game on Saturday, Redfield against Burke, there could be a lot of runs scored in that game. So I think that could be the Burke Bombers are true to their name. They like to hit and they like to give up runs as well. So
Alexandria, this youth movement, you can check it out in the Metro Republic right now. Trey did the story. The pitching staff, completely different than what we've seen in recent years. The Wilbur brothers, you got some new blood in there, Dakota Munger, and they've kind of rode the ship of, they weren't quite at the tippy top these last couple of years, but now it appears that maybe they're set up for another long stretch of success thanks to a bunch of college kids.
Yeah, the older, or some of their core in that championship run over since 2013 kind of aged out, and so they still have some of those players in the system, but now have sort of replenished, particularly the pitching, with some young arms between Dakota Wesleyan and AJ Wilbur was in Alexandria's younger youth teams as well. So that's a big time boost. That all of a sudden they've got as much pitching as anybody going into this state tournament, and they are a team that, because of the draw that they have, I think they have a great chance to make it to the second weekend and really have a shot at a state championship. So that's one I'm looking to keep an eye on. And when you combine the experience with just having youth and some fresh arms, and that makes you dangerous.
Kind of saw that with the Rays last year. That's a big reason why they won. They had some young pitching. They had some young talent.
And we've seen it recently. Both Del Rapids teams have had that with their pitching and their lineups in recent years. And so we start looking at who might be playing, next weekend. I think those are the teams that make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you think about guys like Tyson and Jordan Gow, and how in recent years maybe they were still looked to as you have to shoulder the bulk of the load. They're still very capable player. Pierce Smith, I think, is another guy who falls into that category.
Both Smith brothers, yeah.
Where they've been maybe bumped down the lineup or bumped down in terms of they don't have to shoulder the load every night. And so when they have their moment, Alexandria explodes.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, that makes them incredibly dangerous. Where they're relying on a whole bunch of different guys because they still have kind of that. I would say that maybe I consider it the bridge generation. Jared Zenz, he's a little bit on the younger side, but still a veteran on that
Cole
team.
And Andy,
yeah. And so they're still. Loaded for bear is
an understatement.
Any team. And again, that 8-team pod just seems like it sets up really well for them to make a deep run.
Sometimes I fall prisoner to this, but I think just because I just saw Volga play in the State Legion tournament, I would imagine they're a team to keep an eye on here simply because we don't see as much about them. They are a relative newcomer to the state tournament. They've kind of been an off and on team out of the EDL, but that's a team I'm watching. Maybe they're up for it. Maybe they're up for a challenge and making a run here. I also think just the teams that the runs are just going to be so much harder to come by in the state tournament than they are in the regular season. So the teams that can manage that the best, as we talk about in every state tournament, not having errors, not giving up free bases, is just going to be a huge storyline to keep an eye on as well.
Everybody loves the bracket. Marcus, what does your bracket look like? Here, let's give me some maybe some upsets, some semifinals, some championships.
Take all 31 games in order.
Un-depth. What do you got for winner 11B and 12B on that Tuesday night?
So I guess, Landon spoiled one of them, I guess, and I wouldn't consider it to be an upset. But Garrettson is a team I think is going to be making a run. I have them in the semifinals. I also have the Hartford Humboldt Wood Ducks in the semifinals. I think that bottom part of the bracket is going to be terribly interesting between Flandreau Cardinals, a team that I wasn't surprised to see make the state tournament, but they've been a little bit on the older side now. Redfield don't play a ton of teams, so it's hard to really know. They do play the Parkson teams, but hard to know exactly what you're going to get out of them. Larchwood, kind of the same bucket in terms of, I think getting a little bit older, but always has some talent on the roster. So I have the Wood Ducks playing the Del Rapids Mudcats in the semifinals. I have Canova in the quarters. I have Tabor in the quarters. I have Volga in the quarterfinals. But I have Alexandria over Garrettson in the semis, and I have the Del Rapids Mudcats over Alexandria for the title.
All right. Landon, what's your bracket look like?
What was your semifinals?
Del Rapids Mudcats over the Wood Ducks and Alexandria over Garrettson.
That's incredible.
You got
Do we
same
really have the
thing.
same one? Oh my God. Well, I'm going to throw this out now.
So now I gotta switch something
I'm going
up.
to change everything now.
I guess if I had to pick one thing different just to switch it up, I'll put Canova in over the Wood Ducks, and so my other semifinal will be the Mudcats against the Gang. But I feel pretty bullish about Garrettson against Alexandria on the top half. I can't really tell you why. It just kind of as a gut thing, but
They knock off PBR in the second round.
I mean, it's interesting because PBR could make a run. We talked about Castlewood Ravens could make a run. They were a team that did that last year. And then any one of Hartford, Humboldt, Gamecocks, Parkston Rays, Winter Cologne Pheasants could upend this whole bracket as well with wins in the first round. So, I mean, there's a few first round games, obviously, as we've talked about, that you turn them around and all of a sudden everything's a little bit different.
If you go chalk here, you have Alexandria and PBR in the top half.
Which would be
semifinals. Great. If seeds hold or rankings hold, then in the bottom half you would have Canova and the Del Rapids Mudcats. But boy, Canova, if they get through that, then you got to knock off some top 5, top 10 teams.
I would be
Canova's got the toughest run, I would say, of any
100%. I was about to just say,
oof.
I think I have Canova in the semis, I guess, in this situation. I could well see that being Castlewood in that same position if they win that first game. I just happened to pick Canova over Castlewood, but that's like a 51-49 coin flip if I've ever seen one. I don't know what to think about that. But as you told me to pick the bracket, I went with Canova.
What's interesting is Canova can get through the first 2 rounds and not have to play any Corn Belt teams. And then I foresee it being they'd play like 2 or 3 of them at the very end if they were to get that far, because I mean, you got the Wood Ducks potentially waiting there, or Flandreau Cardinals, and then Del Rapids Mudcats or Gamecocks in the semis at that point. So
Wood Ducks really lurking in this. They kind of get buried down there with the very last pairing of the whole first round. I don't think a lot of people probably realize that they're 16-6.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good Corn Belt team.
That's tied for the most wins. There's a lot of teams actually that have 16 wins. PBR, Kimball White Lake has 16 wins. Del Rapids Mudcats, Canova Gang, all 16 win teams.
So that was a Wood Ducks team we saw make the quarters. I think the last time they were in the tournament 2 years ago. I don't think they made it last year. So I think they're scary. It just, we've seen it be hard to make a sustained run out of that last pod historically. I mean, I've mapped out the bracket going back several years now, and I think the rest equation just catches up with you when you have to play Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But maybe they can overcome that. Who knows? But that's a Wood Ducks team that if you told me they were in the semifinals or the final, I don't know that I'd be completely shocked.
If you start with Tabor and you just go straight down the bracket, Tabor's got 12 wins, Gamecocks have 13, Rays have 14, Winter Cologne 11, Del Rapids Mudcats 16, Canova 16, Castlewood Ravens 11. If I skip Burke, who's 9-8, Redfield Dairy Queens 13-1. And that's a lot of double-digit win teams in a row there. And not that there's not some in the upper half of the bracket as well, but just the number of wins collected there, especially, I mean, this is the amateur tournament. As we said, there's always some 6, 7, 5-win teams that make it. To see that collection there shows that there's some talent there, particularly as we get to the weekend in this first round.
So you have initially you had the same Garrettson, Alexandria, top of the semis, and then the other one was the Wood Ducks from Hartford Humboldts versus the Mudcats.
What do you got? Semis.
Yeah. Let me say this first. Is there a team quarterfinals? Quarterfinals, the Cinderella. Who is the Cinderella? Maybe an under 500 team?
They're not under 500, but my Cinderella, I guess, would be Volga.
Okay.
Because they're relatively new to all this. If I was to pick a Cinderella that maybe we're not thinking about, you're looking for maybe somebody that's under 500? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, or somebody that maybe is going to pull an upset here.
You just said there's not many of them, especially on the bottom side of the bracket.
Like Redfield was 9th in the final poll, but you say, hey, Redfield's going to knock off Castlewood or Canova in the second round. That'd be a surprise.
Let me say my surprise would be Clark at 6-8-1. I think they could beat Weston Springs, and then potentially in the right scenario could beat Tabor. Again, another team that has a bunch of players that have played high school and Legion ball. You know, I don't know how many of those guys are going to be playing in this tournament, but just looking at a team with a record under 500, that's who I would say. And that's maybe the non-Mount Vernon division, because we've talked about Mount Vernon as well.
I was about to say, I will preface what I'm about to say with, I think if you go to that 4-team pod of Washington Springs, Clark, Mount Vernon, and Tabor is clearly like the most sound team, and the record bears that out. Mount Vernon, Clark, I mean, Washington Springs to a degree, I guess, because they've been good as of late. I mean, I could see any of the 4 probably make that quarterfinal. That's like an interesting little pop. Like Mount Vernon, really.
That's your team.
I think maybe like if they've somehow shaken off this bad mojo that they had, like they're just a team that intrigues me more than anything. And then if we go back to the top, I know it would be tough because you probably either play Garrettson or PBR. But I think like a Kimball White Lake or a Parkston Mudcats could make that
absolutely
that quarterfinal. Presumably against, I guess we would have Alexandria in that spot.
Semifinal.
Or semifinal,
in that case, yeah.
So, I mean, that would be a big run. Like, but when we talk about just young talent, that's what the Mudcats have. And then pitching, that's what Kimball White Lake has in spades. I mean, that can carry you a long way.
I'll say recently, your general mix of the quarterfinals has been like 4 teams from the Corn Belt, 2 or 3 from the Sunshine.
And 1 oddball.
And then 1 EDL team that we don't see at all during the year. And then maybe a Larchwood or a Garrettson in there as well. And the South Central League has underperformed generally. I know Lester was in the title game against Canova about 3 years ago, but so
that was a year where Tabor and Lesterville played in the semis.
Yeah,
too.
so I'm looking to see, can Tabor be that team that maybe makes a charge. But that's been your general mix of who, in terms of leagues that have made the final 8.
I think Del Rapids PBR beats the Del Rapids Mudcats in the championship.
Okay, you got Alexandria making the semis.
Alexandria, yes. The other semi, I look at Flandreau and Larchwood. I don't know who to pick with that one, but I like the winner of that to maybe make a run.
Yep.
I'm not buying into the Wood Ducks. Flandreau Larchwood winner, I think, could maybe be a sneaky, even semifinal team.
Yeah.
Go as far, I think Flandreau 7-12. They knocked off Canova last week, so they could maybe play them again. So that would be my wild card. Let me go with, I guess, Flandreau and watch them lose to Larchwood right off the bat. So,
I just
final.
I just called out Clark as a potential upset team, and I have on my bracket here I have Western Springs beating them. So
I feel like that's a toss-up game.
That's a toss-up game. Right. Yeah, that's a toss-up game.
So 94th annual amateur baseball tournament. Parks and Mudcats in that first game versus Elk Point, then to Kimball White Lake. The Valley Springs Dogs.
I love it.
Anything. Does it look like a good logo?
They're an over 38 team.
Wow.
So
that's what I heard in the
wow.
I like that they are in this tournament. Just
you got Lennox. What would you have? What was the conglomeration? Lennox, Worthing, Chancellor. Goodbye to Chancellor.
Is that the same team?
No, we don't know.
Is that?
I went and looked at the roster, and it looked like a lot of
I think they just
younger
knocked off
guys.
Chancellor. They were.
There was a moment not too long ago where Lennox had 2 teams, and they have kind of come and gone with different groups, and so this may be a new franchise,
that's
so to speak.
What I thought,
but they're down. They have 1 team now, which is good. I mean, Lennox obviously is a baseball town, so it's good that they're represented. Landon, we kind of spotlighted a few that we. Teams that didn't make it. Platt didn't make it. Millbank, a long run of them making the tournament. They're not in it this year. So
Madison
has been a contender in recent years. So a few teams that we've been used to seeing.
Didn't make Emory again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just kind of run into
buzzsaw.
Just, a little bit of a rough patch here. They haven't made it 2 years in a row.
And we'll have coverage, KORN News Radio, FM 101.3, AM 1490, and also MitchellRepublic.com. Some other local baseball and some national baseball to get to. Maybe an all baseball episode of the corner booth. We'll be back next.
I'm sure you'll find a way to introduce something else, Trev.
Maybe I will. Something media, national media
here we
related. ESPN Unlimited. What trash you are, just all around. Again, the corner booth brought to you by Marlin's Family Restaurant here in Mitchell, along with Jimmy John's and James Valley Landscape Solutions.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Hey, this is Dylan with James Valley Garden Center. We have all the garden needs covered, from flashy annuals, hardy trees, vibrant shrubs, and gorgeous perennials, all ready for you to create a beautiful and vibrant garden. Speaking of vibrant, have you seen the cool round purple flowers on Main Street Mitchell? It's called allium, and it's part of the onion family. We have them in now if you want to add them to your garden. James Valley Garden Center, 600 West Spruce. Let's go outside.
Feeling hungry but not sure what for? The buffet at Marlin's is the perfect choice. So many mouth-watering options, everyone will find something they crave, and no one leaves hungry. Marlin's offers a breakfast buffet on Saturdays and Sundays, 7 to 2, a lunch buffet Monday through Fridays from 11 to 2, then a dinner buffet Friday and Saturday from 5 to 9. And don't forget, kids eat free on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's Marlin's Family Restaurant in Mitchell.
It is the Corner Booth Podcast. Again, you can check out previous episodes, see what we said last year about the bracket in the amateur tournament, because I've forgotten. iTunes, also on Spotify.
I remember we said Parks and Rays could make a run, and
Did we?
they did.
Oh, good.
So
Marcus, that's Marcus. You're Landon.
I am.
That's Landon. I'm Travis. Other baseball wrapping up. Madison defeated Dakota Valley Tuesday in the Class B Legion state tournament that was up in Madison. Madison did say roll through everybody. It was 2-1 in the championship. How much did you get to see, Marcus, of the facilities in Madison and some walk-off extra innings? Very exciting semifinals here, quarterfinals earlier in the week.
yes, I guess they would be the semifinals because there were only 4 teams left, and one of them was elimination. But was there on Monday to watch Dakota Valley. They scored 10 runs, and 8 of them came on home runs, 3 home runs. Grady Ramos with 2 of them. And then I'm going to forget his name. The Shout,
Yep.
Sterling Shout, I think it was.
Sterling,
had the 3-run home run walk-off in the 9th inning. Schaff,
Schaff.
to beat Volga, who more than, showed up well. Had the
In the debut.
In the debut, they'd never made the State Legion tournament. And one of their parents, I overheard him say, 2 heartbreakers in a row, which was true. They had the misfortune of running into Madison in the winner's bracket, undefeated game on Sunday, and then losing a walk-off against Dakota Valley on Monday. And then Madison, big-time rally, they rallied, I think, in 4 of their 5 games in the state tournament, but they went 5-0, and they had a 12-11 win over Del Rapids to knock out Del Rapids. Del Rapids was in the running, again for another state title, and got to the championship and then played Dakota Valley and came back. They had a 2-run double in the 5th or 6th inning, and Henry Wienhoff was lights out, 11 strikeouts in the championship game, and so Madison wins 2-1. They obviously won the high school season as well, so that's back-to-back years where the high school champ and the Legion champ were the same team or program city in Class B, but they were 47-10 between the 2 seasons. They were 23-2 in the high school season, 24-8 during the Legion year. So very impressive baseball season for Madison. And
I thought I saw overall the Madison Youth Baseball Association has won 4 state titles in 2026.
Very good run for them. I was there, Flynn Field, first time I'd been there. No press box, Travis, not ideal. They had
tough. That's tough for the folks in the press.
They had a tent at the top of the bleachers and they were making dues. But other than that, it seemed like a pretty good facility. Dugouts are kind of small, but had very nice lights. Concession stand was selling blizzards. It is Madison after all. Yeah. So they had some good stuff going on there. So good for them. I always like when teams make an effort. You don't like that as much.
No, there were lots of noise and music or what?
No, they had each team's logo. They had printed out, put it on the concrete. I like that.
Good.
A little bit of home cooking there. So yeah, good state tournament. What I always find interesting is this state tournament ends and then it's like, well, I wonder where it's going to be next year because we don't know until January or February when the Legion gets together and usually hammers out where it's going to be. So
ask the good doctor, Marty Christensen, where are you going?
I could, and he maybe would give me some insight. So, good for Madison, and Parkston ran into Madison in that second round, fell 9-2, and then also ran into Del Rapids. I mean, those are 2 really good programs. What are you going to do? And so they were out on day 3 after a 1-2 run, but good season for Parkston.
A really good day 1.
Yeah. What was it? 22 wins again?
Yeah.
All told. So that's pretty solid.
Class A, Rapid City Post 22 rolls everybody, beat Sioux Falls West in the finals, so they advance to the regions, and very impressive. Nobody really touched them. So
Did you see
48-12 Post 22 is right now, and
how are they doing in this region?
well, it's interesting, Travis, that you bring that up because the Central Plains Regional, it's in Mandan, North Dakota this year. I believe it starts tomorrow, Thursday. It's been an 8-team bracket the last few years. The teams come from Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa. And then there's a host team like there is for the state tournament. It's only a 6-team bracket this year. They're not taking anybody that finished second. I think for a while there was a Wisconsin team that used to come to this, and they are not in it anymore. And if you remember last year, I think it was Harrisburg and Yankton both played in it because they needed extra teams, and they've taken 2 teams from Minnesota and Nebraska. I think they've kind of rotated that around, and so 6-team bracket. It's kind of strange, but I mean, Post 22's probably got a great chance of maybe getting to that national tournament if they are successful. Basically, depending on what happens in Game 5 of the tournament, that the whole bracket changes based on that, because I assume if everybody has a loss, then they're just playing basically single elimination out from there. But yeah, they every region in the country is 6 teams instead of 8 now, so that's interesting.
Did you see for Post 22 in the South Dakota tournament, Wyatt Reeder, the kid who goes to Nebraska,
is going to Nebraska.
Nebraska. My bad. He was 11 for 13 with 2 doubles, 2 triples, and a dinger. His OPS was 2.446, and he was intentionally /walked
OBP of
4 times.
850.
Yeah, his OBP was 908.
His on-base percentage.
His on-base percentage was 846.
846.
Pretty good. Our colleague, we have a colleague in Pierre, Trevin Reichlich. He had a story about the Reeder brothers because his younger brother Jackson is 3 years behind him. He was just as good, not 11 for 13 good, but very good. But Wyatt Reeder, I mean, he went to Nebraska or Kansas. It was Kansas, and he played summer woodbat league for like a couple months. So he came back. He didn't play a lot of the season with Post 22, but needless to say, they slotted him right in the lineup, and he got to business.
Well, yeah, if he's going to do that.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Platte Geddes Teeners, VFW and Esteline beat Tri-Valley 2-1. Put it up for Platte Geddes kids.
I will say there's a lot of state tournaments now between the VFW.
Esteline.
Legion now has a Senior Legion, Junior Legion, and a 14U. There's a lot to keep track of. Little League. There was a whole Little League thing going on.
6-man baseball. Do we hear 6-man baseball?
At West River, they really want it.
Okay.
I was glad to see that in this particular division of VFW JV, there was only like one Yeah. You know how like they've been like
Junior,
the Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta divisions in some of the young. This was only one division, so it was 8 JV teams only in one division to figure it out. And Corsica, Stickney, and Salem were also in the semifinals. Those were the last 4 teams remaining: Tri-Valley, Platte, Corsica, Stickney, and Salem.
I will say, because I've written about this, I understand giving a lot of teams a shot to play in a season-ending tournament. I get that, but I just think it ends up being a lot. It ends up being a lot of state tournaments when you're playing them 3-4 different divisions in an age group. And then I know there's a tournament of champions going on this weekend. It's like, okay, what are we doing here? So
giving out championships.
That's what they're doing.
Unfortunately, they had a fire in Brandon Monday.
That's unfortunate.
Press box, which we didn't get a chance to really take advantage of that last year because the tournament was at Brandon Amateur Tournament, First National Bank Field. Very nice facility, and they had the fire underneath the grandstand where the concessions were, and we'll see what ends up being the cause of that. But again, like I mentioned last night, good thing this wasn't a year ago because this would have been 2 days before the amateur tournament. So I don't know if they have to start from scratch, how heavy the damage is. It looks pretty significant, but luckily this was not last year. But Brandon Valley's put a lot of work into that stadium, and a nice turf field and a nice grandstand. So we'll see, I guess, what they have to do to fix it. If it's a complete rebuild or if they can maybe manage some of it. It does not look good.
Well, the initial report was significant damage to both.
Everything had fire damage.
See some pictures, can you save any of that?
And everything that they were storing under the grandstand was a complete loss.
That was the thing I remember seeing from the state tournament last year was they had like a chain link fence around the bottom of the grandstand, and they had stored a lot of stuff in there, and that means the cause could have been almost anything at that point. You have I mean, the fire marshal will decide, but that means it could have been anything. And, you remember last season, I know they hosted the State Legion tournament a few years ago, but really 12 days of baseball, that was kind of the pinnacle of showcasing their stadium. And I know they've had the NSIC tournament there and stuff, but I mean, for baseball diehards around the state, that was a chance for a lot of us to get to experience what they had to offer. And I know they were very proud of that. And I'm sure they're going to, build it back and that sort of thing. But that does suck. And I think if you're, if the state tournament would have been there this year, I don't know what you would have done, because yes, you could move it to somewhere else, but think about all the volunteers and all the other things that get organized around a state tournament. And if all of a sudden you got to move it somewhere else with 2 days notice, that is a lot harder said than done. So
yeah, would it have come to Cadwell?
I mean, it could have, but all the things that,
hey, by the way, you available Wednesday, Thursday, and for the next 2 weeks.
I mean, I know not necessarily for the teams, but for the organizers, there's hotel rooms and stuff involved, and just, it would have been bad. So hopefully Brandon's able to get their baseball stuff back on track here in the future, but that's always sad to see.
Corner Booth Podcast. That'll do it for the week. No. Landon, Marcus,
Nobody
Travis.
Can trust you because you're always deacon them.
Deacon and shifty. Other stadium repairs. Our friends in Huron have a problem with that football stadium.
Huron, we have a problem.
Yeah,
the big tornado from July 2nd.
And let's just say, we're pretty sure straight line wins, but a lot of damage.
I feel like they confirmed that there was a tornado. I thought I heard this was a tornado of some sort, even though
tornadic event,
90, 100 plus mile an hour winds, some rotation involved, and a lot of damage in Huron here a month ago.
And somebody had the video. I mean,
it's a tornado.
It was right at the baseball field in Huron. It was right at the big pheasant. As far as I know, the pheasant survived, but a lot of other stuff took on some damage.
They don't have lights, and initially I'm like, well, why can't this get done? And apparently it can't get done because it can't get done. It's kind of like a Tropicana field roof. Can you get this done sometime in the next 18 months? The answer is no. July 2nd, so they still have to repair the turf next week. So all of these games still will happen at Tiger Stadium in Huron. Nice facility with the turf and the scoreboard, but they're all going to be 4:30 starts. First game is September 11th. They've got 5 regular season games. We'll see if they host a playoff game. But that Mitchell game the week before Halloween is a 4:30 start. 6:30 is the sunset. I don't see that being a 4:30. That's got to be a 3, at least a 3 o'clock, if not a 3:30 starts. I don't know why they didn't do that initially, but
let's just move it to noon Sunday, and
that's fine with me.
There'll be 8 NFL games, and then there'll be Mitchell against Huron.
Give me something to
do. My understanding of what I've read is that they had the one light standard come all the way down, and then the other 3 were kind of upheaved by the storm under the concrete, so there's credibility issues with those. And so, you can't play a night game. I'm not surprised that you can't get those lights necessarily fixed within 8 weeks or however long it would have been to have the games there. You got to work pretty hard to get the glass out of the turf, because I'm sure there's some glass that fell with that light standard going down. So what a mess. That's what my grandpa would say. What a mess. Oh my gosh, what a mess. That's what he would really say.
It's like, I told Marcus that they should just rent out the field at Sanborn Central High and play the neutral site game in the middle.
Or play in Woolsey. Woolsey played it in Huron the last couple years, last year.
What's Forestburg got going on here?
Yeah. Well, Mellon Festival and then a couple Huron football games, I think. Actually, I just saw that they don't play a home game for the first 3 weeks, so they got all their home games backloaded.
And, it's the difference of playing at 7 or 4:30, not that it's a big deal, and you can play these games, and you much rather play at home rather than go somewhere. Mitchell would be the closest. Brookings is just over an hour away. It's like, do you really need to play a night game at home? No, you don't. You don't need to play a home game on the road. So we'll see what that Mitchell game, I think it's like October 25th, somewhere around there, 26th, when that, it's the Thursday night, the final game of the year.
The 22nd of October.
Yeah, so we'll see what that Mitchell game ends up actually being.
They'll adjust it. I'm sure 4:30 was kind of the starting point, but they will definitely be adjusting that, I would have to think, because, you start running out of daylight late in October.
As I thought, repairs, can this get done? Apparently not. Can there be some sort of temporary lights? I'm sure they've looked into it, but late afternoon of football for the Huron Tigers this year. Any other baseball notes? It kind of wraps up the local baseball scene, as I guess the good thing for Brandon, they're done with baseball.
Yeah.
Of all the good things that you could say about a fire.
They just got done hosting a state tournament of some kind.
Yeah.
They're one of their youth teams just won the state tournament, so They don't have it. They don't need it for quite some time.
I will say, I mean, the baseball season, it all kind of comes to an end very quickly. You know, I know it's probably been this way for the last few years, but felt like there used to be more time between the A and the B Legion tournaments, and now they overlap a little bit more. And so it's all in a fell swoop, and then we go right into the amateur tournament. Obviously, we know that's a big bear with 12 days in a row. And then once we come out of that, man, we'll have football to talk about. So, you
know, we talk about the dead time of summer. It felt less dead. We're like, there's no dead time because there was so much baseball.
Yeah.
There in the golf and some of the summer golf activities, and it just seemed like there is a lot of baseball, whether it's coming up tomorrow or it was last night. There's always something with Legion teams and Junior Legion, and having a Legion team in Mitchell helped again this year, and all the amateur teams. So it seems like less of a lull, if no lull at all.
I would agree.
Major League Baseball had their trade deadline Monday. Twins made some moves. A last-second trade for Jeff Hoffman. Marcus, your evaluation of the 3/4 pitchers the Twins have brought in here. Trade deadline, and a few weeks ago they also brought in your guy Tom Nance from north of the border.
Jim?
Yeah, Jim Nance's brother.
Jim Nance's brother, bearded.
And is Jeff Trevor Hoffman's brother?
Yep, I believe, yeah, they are brothers. So, yeah, no, I think I liked a lot of what they did. They're taking on salary with the Hoffman move. That gets people.
Was he still in Toronto?
Yes, he was. And Landon, I forgot that he had
Who did he play for?
He had kind of a major blown save last year in the World Series. So he had a pretty awful start to the season, and then has kind of gotten it back on track his last 20-some appearances. So I think there's probably, most importantly, Travis, he's going to add to the Twins save total at some point during the year. Keep adding guys to the save total. That's really the main storyline for me. But I like that they, made some additions. They did not make an offensive trade necessarily, and they did not trade away some of the main pieces that we were talking about, particularly Joe Ryan or Ryan Jeffers or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's kind of the sign of, in the context of 3 guys in or 4 guys in, depending on how you look at it, and no guys out, it's one of the more aggressive trade deadlines the Twins have had in terms of just sheer roster additions going back quite a ways. So I really don't have a problem with it. Minter, I like that. Who's the guy that they got? That's the maybe rotation. Yeah, Dean Kramer. We'll see.
We'll find out tonight.
We'll find out. And then the Nance thing. That's fine too. So what are your thoughts, Travis?
Good thoughts. I thought they'd make 2, maybe 3, and they made the 3 trades over the weekend. It was Friday night and Saturday night, and then right before the buzzer.
They like trading late in the day.
They love trading with the Blue Jays. A lot of Blue Jays trades from Shannon Stewart 23 years ago to on and on and on. So yeah, Jeff Hoffman can be good, can be bad. He's on a hot streak now. He's due $12.6 million next year.
Somebody pointed out.
It's interesting.
Do you think they asked about Louis Varland?
No.
Can we get him back?
Can we get him back for the boatload we got for him? Jeff Hoffman was a Twin in spring training 3 years ago. Did you see those pictures?
Yep.
He was there, and terrible starter for Colorado, and now has turned his career around with Cincinnati and Toronto being a reliever, so good for Jeff Hoffman. Dean Kramer, average pitcher, gives you some innings, ERA, league average. His ERA's upper 6s now, but he's only started a couple games, so he'll start tonight for the Twins. AJ Minter, again, a reliever. They didn't really give up anything for prospects, so that's
they gave
fine.
up, what was it?
Dixon Hill.
1 guy in the top 10 for the organization, 2 guys in the top 20. That's pretty good. You didn't give up any of the names that we know about in terms of the minors, so that's quality in terms of protecting the future a little bit.
Looked like Trevor Larnach was headed to Houston. There was that rumor out there, and I think they confirmed it that that's something that happened. He was going to go to Houston for Brian Abreu, another pretty good reliever. So they were pretty aggressive trying to get in some quality guys in the bullpen. Bullpen's good now. Do you go as far as say it's the strength of the team? Offense has not been good for last couple weeks. Starting pitching, Joe Ryan's not been good.
Yeah.
So how hard is it to understand? Yeah, bullpen's good now. Offense not as good, and the starting pitching kind of up in the air where it's like, well, can you even get to the bullpen to where it matters? Can you get a lead?
Yeah.
They've been down 2-0, I think, 3-4 straight days.
The offense was a strength, and now it's been wavering, which I think if you're a Twins fan, you could kind of see that maybe coming at some point. Not entirely unpredictable there. And the starting pitching kind of the same way, unfortunately. I don't know what's going on with Joe Ryan. That's a major storyline here in the second half of the season. And boy, if they don't get those two things figured out, the bullpen may not matter.
Taj Bradley's been very good. We'll see what Dean Kramer can add. Zebby Matthews. He rough first inning, had 10 strikeouts over the weekend versus Seattle. A couple of walk-off wins for the Mariners. Twins still just one game back of Cleveland. I got to say something about like the fans. It's like I don't care about the fans, and it's like we got to do this. We got to do this for the fans, Marcus.
Stop it right there. If you don't care about the fans,
I don't care about
we
the
don't
fans.
have to talk about it.
But then there were people saying, the national media folks saying, on the 1 year anniversary of the big tragic trade deadline of last year. It's like we still can't revisit this a year later and say, you know what, this was actually pretty good. The Twins 1 year later came out better than most expected. Like at the time, like I could see, okay, this is good. Everybody else said, oh, this is bad. I'm like, oh, this is good. You're wrong. This is fine. Then everybody says, oh, you got rid of your 3 relievers last year and you brought in 3 relievers. Why didn't you just keep the 3 guys that you had last year? Because you did not give up anything this year for 3 suitable replacements, and you got a boatload of dudes for 3 guys a year ago. You didn't give up a Mick Abel, who could be the ace of your staff. Ty Eat, the catcher, you didn't give up any talent like that. You just didn't give up anything, and you got Kendry Rojas. We've seen him good and bad. You got a lot of dudes that are going to be pretty good, that you didn't have to give up any of them, and now your bullpen is really, really good for the past month.
Just dudes for guys.
That's right.
It's a
real
dudes are
Steven
bad,
Adazio
guys
trade.
are no good, so...
I don't think I can make like a whistling like steam sound, but that's what's happening here. Just letting some steam out here about your frustration over some of this stuff. Hopefully you feel a little bit better getting this off your chest. Here's my thing with the media and the Twins and just baseball in general. And I mean, we're going to probably talk about a couple, bigger trade deadline things here as well. But like, I don't follow any really national. I mean, transaction wise, I guess I follow your Ken Rosenthal's and your Jeff Passons. But like, I want to listen to people that cover the Twins talk about the Twins. I'm not putting any stock in, what
whoever's is
Nightingale or who was the guy?
Whoever, I don't know. I've never heard of him.
No, John Heyman. You're freak out about John Heyman all the time. It's like I'm not listening to what he has to say about any of this nonsense.
Go to like the Deep Throat tapes or something.
No, it's just like I mean, there's so much. I think it's like all good media is local media usually, and so that's what I'm paying attention to. There's Twins podcasts out there, there's Twins shows, there's Twins reporters,
and I don't listen to those guys because it's like you're the same guys that were freaking out a year ago. It's like state of the Twins address. They got rid of Harrison Bader and Willie Castro. Let's have an hour podcast.
Harrison Bader.
Whoops,
he loves getting his foot ran over.
Look out. So it's like, can't we revisit this a year later and say, you know what, these trades actually worked out pretty well. Louis Varland, really, really good. Duran,
I think if you're level-headed, you know that. And I think
but then
to say otherwise is to get a reaction out of somebody like you.
Sure.
And I guess
but if that's your job to cover this stuff, like you got to do a better job of saying, oh yeah, you know what, we freaked out a year ago. And let's say, you know what, they got a couple guys that are pretty good, and then some of those guys haven't even come up yet. And I guess from the fans' perspective, it's like you don't make moves for the fans. You make moves to win. It's like you're doing this to make yourself a better team, whether it's the short term or the long term. It's like, well, we got to get the fan expectation up. It's like, well, yes, you had some bullpen pieces. Fine. So let's focus.
I asked this question for my own benefit and for the benefit of those listening. Now, are they guys or are they dudes?
Who?
Too early to say.
The guy they got or the guy they let go?
Well, just here you were talking about the guys that they got, and
those are dudes. They got
previously
dudes.
You had said dudes, but
dudes are better than guys.
Then you referred to them as guys, and so now I'm just confused.
Guys are just generic. Dudes. No,
I'm aware of the difference, but like
I'm clarifying.
You talked about the Twins,
guys and dudes.
You talked about the Twins dudes, and then you proceeded to call them just guys.
Some of them are just guys. A couple of them are dudes.
Okay,
so
I'm going to change the subject, and I'm going to put our guy Landon on the spot.
Yes, the Brewers will sweep the Twins this weekend.
The Brewers did not get involved or did not win the Tarek Skubal sweepstakes, and there's been a lot of talk about, well, the Rays and the Brewers in particular could have done what the Dodgers did in terms of giving up 3 prospects that are prospects, but they're not the major names. So are you, as a Brewers fan, are you bothered by that discussion? Are you bothered that the Brewers didn't get more aggressive for a guy like Skubal?
Well, the Brewers beat reporters have said that the Brewers did submit a pretty big offer, and they just
local media there. If there's a credit to that.
Just
good job.
They didn't. The Tigers said no.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do?
So what? Yeah, at that point, what can they do? I can't speak to what. I haven't looked into what the Rays may or may not have offered.
I don't
love that Skubal went to the Dodgers. I
don't think anybody does. Yeah,
but I mean, it sounded like Milwaukee was kind of entranced by the fact that they could have maybe pulled a CC Sabathia part 2,
mm-hmm.
and so they tried, didn't get it done. Ended up kind of, I'll say, settling for acquiring some other, ancillary arms. Dustin May and Antonio Senzatella are, I think, the two that most people would. Jojo Romero.
Jojo.
Yeah,
I think
is what it is.
I think it's okay to be bothered by him, Skubal, going to the Dodgers and just being generally frustrated with the Dodgers, the best getting better. But I also think like the criticism of saying that any other team could have offered that package it's true, because it ended up not being
for what the Dodgers sent back for him. I think like a number of teams
clearly more than just 2, but those are the 2 teams that have gotten the most.
It shocked me. Now I really kind of want to. I don't think it's been, at least I haven't seen it out there, like exactly what the Brewers offered. But if they say they put out a competitive offer, like why did the Tigers take pennies on the dollar for a dude who's won back-to-back Cy Youngs?
And why did the Tigers ultimately help out the Dodgers? Because nobody should be that thrilled by the prospect of that. So
why'd they make it?
Nobody wins.
Why'd they make the trade Saturday night when they had 2 more days to field offers? Say, hey, you know what? Here's what the offer is from the Dodgers. Why were they so quick to say, all right, here it is? I don't know.
The world may never know.
Makes you think. Yeah. I don't know. I heard that they wanted Logan Henderson. And I was like, no, you're not getting Logan Henderson.
Probably not getting.
I'd rather have 5 years of him than 10 starts of Skubal. That's what it comes down to.
That's the and like, yeah, the whole you're gonna get 10-ish starts out of him. It's a scary prospect. Like
it's going to come down to
when like you have to get rid of somebody who would otherwise probably be in your organization for
a long time.
I mean, like if you're talking about like a true prospect, you could potentially lock them down for at least like the next decade between the minors and if you wanted to extend them once they got to the major level. So like, I don't know. And then like they've called up and seen a lot out of guys like Cooper Pratt and Lara, and they have Jesus. It's like they're not getting rid of Jesus Mata. They're not getting rid of these guys that are top of the whole prospect like list. It's like it's just not happening. So I don't know.
The one positive thing I'd like to say about baseball at the moment.
Good.
If you're on the MLB app, they have the 60-second recap of the day before, and they have that for the minors as well. So I saw Jesus Mata's 2 home runs last week for the Biloxi Shuckers, and that guy can crush it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that kid to come up.
How about the idea of, sometimes these smaller market teams, they need to maybe go all in once in a while and say, you know what, you can keep your prospects all you want, and you're really good. Cleveland and Tampa and Milwaukee, they've had long-term success, but they don't get to the World Series. They don't win it. It's like, at what point do you say, okay, this is our year. We're going to give up a guy where it's like, you may lose the trade long-term, but the goal of this thing is not to be competitive. It's to win a GD World Series every once in a while.
I get that too.
And the Twins never did that.
It'd be different, I think, if like, in my view as a fan, right? It'd be different if like we were addressing like a real huge need with Tariq Skubal. Like we don't have like that guy. It's like we talked about this. Was it just a week ago or maybe it was 2 episodes ago? I think Milwaukee's pitching staff on the whole has been one of, if not the best pitching staff in baseball this year. Like starting pitching is not really the issue right now. So yeah, probably don't give up the whole farm system for a guy you're going to have for the next month and a half. And certainly I'm not trying to say that getting Skubal wouldn't have raised their probability of winning a World Series, but like by how much? Especially when like he's gonna appear at most he'd appear in
4, 5 games.
I was gonna say like in like if the Brewers were fortunate enough to like make the championship series or the World Series, he's going to appear in 3 of those games, and that's if like one of those appearances is in relief.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing is, you get him for the playoffs. It comes down, how does he pitch? It doesn't matter how he pitched last night. He pitched fine. 2 runs, 6 innings, his normal outing against the Cubs.
Which, I mean, it's literally the Clayton Kershaw dilemma of he's great in the regular season.
He's got to pitch well in the play. And he did last year against Seattle, and they pulled him in a game 5 after, I think he went like 7 innings, if that. And like, ride your horse in a game 5. It's like, yeah, how is he going to pitch in the playoffs against the Cubs or the Dodgers or the Braves? I mean, if he pitches poor, it's like, well, this was a waste of time.
To your point about what Cleveland and Milwaukee and Tampa Bay, to me, that should be the baseball version of trust the process. Like, we very clearly have an apparatus where we can develop pitching, we can develop more prospects. And so I would agree with what you're saying, where
make a big splash.
That should be your moment to go in and get that guy that might put you over the top, as Milwaukee famously did with Sabathia many years ago. It's fun for your fan base to do that. It shows that you're like, this is our window, we're going for it. And I think even if you come up empty and you don't win a World Series, which, let's be honest, is a very real possibility for the Tampa Bays and the Milwaukees because of a team like the LA Dodgers, at least you send the message of, we're here to win. We're not here to, just make the playoffs or just be in contention. I mean, that's what a team like the Twins is trying to do this year. We're just trying to get in. And those other teams should be shooting a little higher because their process of developing talent year in and year out and refilling those farm systems is very good. And to the Dodgers' credit, their farm system is very good as well. And that's
goddamn, what did you just say?
Their farm system's very good.
Is it?
Well, this is
the question. That is the bet.
This is what people are saying.
People say they got 7, 8 top 100 prospects.
You're going to tell me it's not true.
We can't. We'll wait and see how.
We can't verify. We don't know.
Wait. We can go back 5 years ago and say, how did these guys come out? Go back 5 years ago, 2021. You can kind of put a book on a lot of these guys' career, and you always hear not only did the Dodgers spend the most, they got the best farm system, they got all these prospects. And I look at their current roster, I'm like, who in this 25-man roster have they developed? It's really Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, their entire pitching staff, half of them come from Japan. The other are Cy Young Award winners they've traded for. It's like, no, they haven't developed anybody on this current team. Like, you can go back like to Corey Seager
I
and
agree with that
Kershaw.
Part.
So it's like, I'm going to take a guess and say all these top 100 guys they have in 5 years, I'm going to do a thumbs down on most of them.
But who were those guys 5 years ago that they had?
Here are the guys.
Okay.
Number 1 prospect in 2021 is the current catcher for Washington, Kybit Ruiz, who's a fine player. He's not an all-star. He was their number 1 prospect. He's an everyday catcher. He's fine. Josiah Gray, who they also sent to Washington, not good. He didn't pan out. Not good. He was I think they sent him for Scherzer. Both of those guys to Washington for Scherzer, I think. Michael Busch, pretty good player for the Cubs. I think he had 30-some home runs.
I'd say really good player.
Good first baseman, but they got Freddie Freeman. So there really wasn't a spot. Cody Jose, I don't know who he is. I don't know where he is. So thumbs down on him. Bobby Miller, I think he was always hurt and he didn't turn into anything. Diego Cartaya, a catcher. Do not know who you are, Diego. Ryan Pepio, really good pitcher for the Rays. He's always hurt. I think they got him for Glass now, who's always hurt. So hurt for hurt. Pepio, really good, but hurts. Their best guy comes in at number 8, Andy Pages.
Yeah.
Pages, number 8. You got to go down to number 8 to get a guy that's like an all-star caliber dude. Not a guy, but a dude.
Bush is an all-star caliber.
He's good.
He is.
And then you got Wilman Diaz, number 9. Jacob Amaya, number 10. You go down to 11.
At least recognize the name, Jacob Amaya.
I think he had Miguel Vargas at 11, he's an all-star third baseman for the White Sox now, who's come out of nowhere. He was number 11. So it's like, yes, none of these.
But my question also would be, how does this compare with any of the other teams? Because there's the hit.
You just named 3 guys who are now all-star players in their top 11 prospects.
That hit rate.
We're talking 8 of the 11. And if you were to give me another team, just go to another team and say, oh, yeah, how was this team?
Well, it's just because we know the Twins.
Pick it. You want to pick the Twins from 5 years ago?
Well, just because we know that roster
we can say,
very well. And we know they don't have probably three All-Stars out of the 11. But
somebody should do what the Rams do and trade their draft pick / prospects. They say, we're going to trade you all their prospects, And if it works, it works.
Yeah.
The Twins from 5 years ago, they've got a better list than the Dodgers do. Number 1, Royce Lewis hasn't figured it out yet. Number 2, Alex Kirilloff retired.
Kirilloff Realty, I saw.
Yeah. Number 3, Trevor Larnach having a nice year.
Yeah.
Not an all-star, but a nice starter. Jordan Balzovic, done. Johan Duran, number 5.
Pretty good.
One of the premier closers in baseball. Ryan Jeffers at 6, one of the best hitting catchers.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get paid this year. You got Ryan Sabato, who is still in AAA, and then it kind of veers off from there. You've got a guy named Brent Rooker, 13, an all-star for the A's, who is hurt. So comparable, you've got 3 all-stars there. You've got Rooker and Jeffers and Duran to compare to what they've got here. Bailey Ober at 25.
So
solid career.
What point am I supposed to take from that? Because it sounds to me like
that these guys that are not going to.
That sounded to me like, okay,
they're not going to pan out.
The Dodgers farm system was a little bit better than the Twins.
Yeah. And about the same level in terms of MLB level players or, legitimate veterans at this point.
The point being, like all of these
being about 3 for 11. I mean, there are going to be prospects that are going to flame out or are not going to come all the way
most
through.
of like 70% of them.
So that's why above 25% hit rate's pretty good.
Yeah.
3 out of 11.
I would say that's average.
Is like 27, 28%.
Yeah. I mean, I can't get too bent out of shape over what the Dodgers. Is it the best? Has it been the best in baseball? No. It would say no, but it doesn't sound
bad.
Yeah.
And what they're doing they're selling high on these guys clearly to acquire dudes who are proven, which you wanted people to do the Rams thing. The Dodgers are doing the Rams thing.
Yeah. They're not though.
I mean, they've
got this glut of They got 8 guys in the top 100. They're getting older, so they're hoping that maybe these guys. I want the Dodgers to have the stones to say, okay, we're going to rely on these guys. We're not going to give the next guy $300-400 million. When's the last time they relied on a prospect to say, here you go, the job is yours. You're ranked 20th, 30th, 40th.
Did you not just say the Rams are doing the thing where they're trading away all their picks?
I'm talking about the Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers are trading away all their prospects to get proven guys.
Yeah.
That seems to be a similar thing.
Pretty much what the Rams did.
Am I speaking
No,
Chinese?
They haven't really had a big trade in the last couple years, no.
Who are we talking about? The Rams or the Dodgers there?
The Dodgers. When was the last time the Dodgers said, here's a big-time prospect, here's the position? They haven't.
Did they not just send a couple guys?
I assume that they did that.
I don't know.
With the Scherzer trade.
That was 5 years ago. Yes.
Okay, but isn't that part of?
They got a catcher who's they're still their starting catcher who's fine.
Yeah,
and they got Josiah Gray who's terrible.
But their lineup hasn't required a lot of tweaking because they have the best lineup in baseball.
And they have money.
Because they just spend more money than everybody.
Yeah, so we got a few different issues
I'm struggling to see what the point is here.
I think we got a lot of...
that they don't use their own prospects. We talked about Miguel Vargas with the White Sox.
You don't have to. You can trade them away and get proven guys. That's what the Dodgers can do.
But they haven't done the trades. They haven't gotten the proven guys. What are you talking about?
Ohtani...
They didn't trade for him. They signed him. They signed Freddie Freeman. They signed Mookie Betts. They're not trading for these guys.
Mookie wasn't a trade.
It was a trade. That was a trade.
That was a trade.
And I guarantee you what they gave up for him is nothing. I think Alex Verdugo. How was Alex Verdugo? No good. He's out of baseball. So my point is revisit this every so often. Say, oh, yeah, these Dodger prospects who everybody loves, they end up being no good.
But
so
doesn't what the trade at the moment, it demands that you give up your number 1 or number 2 or number 3 guy. And I don't know if that's
what they did. They gave up number 5. Zaire Hope's number 5.
I'm just pointing out.
River Ryan's 28 in 2 weeks.
I really think we're arguing two different things here, and so we're just going in circles.
And I'm kind of done with this topic.
I'm arguing that the Dodgers prospects are not that good.
I don't care enough to keep continuing talking about this. So I appreciate that you're passionate about it, but it's the Dodgers. They have so many advantages, and we can't sit here and say that their farm system isn't one of them in some way.
I would argue it's not because
they haven't needed it.
It's at
so
least,
good for them.
At least the illusion that it's good, which is what allows them to attract people
which
to want their prospects.
Just as important as anything.
Exactly.
And the biggest thing is
we'd rather be lucky than good.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is but Detroit's could have got better players from Tampa or Milwaukee. So why'd you settle for River Ryan, who's 28 years old in 2 weeks and has pitched 20 innings in baseball and might be a part of your bullpen this year? He's been often hurt. How is a 28-year-old still in the top 100?
Or the Dodgers have the money to paper over the issues that are in their farm system. If we think there's issues there, which I'm not going to argue. I mean, if you think that, that's fine. But the money can just take care of all those problems. So,
and the salary cap and the lockout, the easy solution is because the Dodgers get all of their television money and their revenue, their ownership changed, and part of the deal was you get to keep a large majority of your local TV money. That's why they have like $600-700 million coming in every year, and that's why they're able to spend much more, which I'm fine with, because what are you going to do with a $500 million? Spend it. So just spread that out amongst everybody. You don't need a lockout. It's one team doing this. The Mets are no good. They spend at equal level. The Blue Jays are having a terrible year. They got the 4th highest payroll in baseball. So we'll see what happens. See what happens with the Dodgers. See if they win a World Series. We'll see if Skubal is any good. There we go. ESPN Unlimited. YouTube TV users get this now for free. It was announced almost a year ago, right before football season last year. Hey, at some point, YouTube TV is going to get the ability to get ESPN Unlimited for $3, which is $30 a month.
Or during the season. Remember, we lost some weeks. Wasn't that last year? Of
what, football?
Where ESPN wasn't on YouTube TV.
Like college football.
We had the standoff, and then right when Monday Night Football was about to be impacted, then they fixed it. So, and this was what they were arguing about, because this is becoming a more and more common thing with the streamers and the old cable companies. And it's funny, we talked about this. I know we talked about this a year or two ago about how everything would start to bundle back up again, and here we are. That's what's kind of happening.
You can get Fox One, what the hell is on Fox One that you need?
Fox stuff.
Fox and ESPN's a bundle. Obviously, Hulu and Disney and ESPN's all a bundle, like for $35. So I tried to get this ESPN Unlimited thing. And I just came out of the blue Monday of last week. It's available now. YouTube TV, you can get it. Here's how you get it. So I go to my account. They say, go through the app. Go through your app. Go to the YouTube TV app. And then click on your little Google picture in the top right corner. Go to the settings. And then go to sports. You go to settings. You go to sports. If you go online on a desktop, there's no sports option. If you go on your television, there's no sports option. So you go to settings. You go to sports. There'll be 3 options. Connect NFL, which connects your NFL fantasy accounts to the TV, which I don't know why. Connect your Yahoo fantasy football account to YouTube. Why do I need this?
Which I also don't want.
Do I need stats popping up on my screen? I don't know what this does. Or it says connect ESPN. And most people were looking at this and saying that's not an option. It doesn't say connect ESPN on my thing. And they said, well, it was a slow rollout. Maybe wait till the weekend. Well, till Thursday and Friday this will happen. Why? You just can't say, all right, it's active. It's active for some. It's not active for others.
I think just to answer that question, I think it's because they don't want everybody having your questions all at the same time.
Like if you just give it active, then you don't have any questions because it's all right. I see what I'm supposed to do. And somebody says, do this. You see this? And I'm like, I don't see what you see. I'm not seeing the ESPN option to link my accounts. The problem was my wife has the main account and you had to go through her account. If you linked it up, then you were fine. As far as my issues, that's what the issue was after a couple days of fiddling with that. You need a Disney account. If you sign into ESPN, you've got your My Disney account. Yep. If you're a Hulu guy, not a dude, but a guy, it's all about the My Disney account. They're all linked into together because Disney makes you sign up for Disney stuff. So it was a big old mess. People besides me were having a big old mess. The second part of it is there's nothing on this GD thing to watch. It's $30 a month. You know what it shows? ESPN stuff. You know who gets ESPN already? Me. Why? Because I have YouTube TV. I get the ESPN. I get the 2. I get the U. I get the news. I get it all.
ESPN 8 the Ocho coming up.
The 8 the Ocho, all of this garbage. That's what they're showing on this. The 30 for 30s. Haven't made a good one in quite some time. All these archives. And then another thing.
The good ones are already on Netflix.
They're done. I've seen them all.
Yeah.
And the other thing was, like, I signed up for this thing and it looked like it was working. But then if it was an ESPN Plus thing, that's you can't watch ESPN Plus. I thought this was all inclusive. And it is. It is. It just didn't want to give me access to the ESPN Plus, which is what is the difference between the Plus and the Unlimited. You have the Unlimited. You had the Plus. You had, what was it? Your ESPN 360. What was it?
which used to be
which is the same thing as ESPN Plus.
Which that was to authenticate through your cable. So,
I remember watching the Big Ten game on the local Fox station in the late 90s when they would regionalize. That was ESPN
That was
Plus.
ESPN Plus. When Dick Bramer was calling Minnesota Northwestern basketball.
Between Purdue and Northwestern and Drew Brees and all this garbage, 11 a.m. on your local Fox affiliate. So a lot of different names, and they added the ESPN Plus, a year or so ago? So it's like...
Further back.
A lot of different names, and it's ESPN Unlimited. Like, well, what is this?
It sounds pretty limited to me.
Point being, it's a bunch of junk that I already get, and the other junk I don't get, I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in the MEAC or the SWAC. Not interested in all these other games that are probably going to be headed our way here in a month. So,
well, as it pertains locally, the SDSU and USD home games will be on they are on ESPN Plus. They are supposed to be on ESPN Unlimited. That's what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is, can I get rid of my ESPN Plus subscription that I've had for
Nobody
the
last
knows 6 years because I wanted to watch these games. Previously, the Summit League games were on there.
Probably.
They haven't been for a while. That's what I care about.
Because you've got ESPN Plus?
Yes.
And you've got YouTube TV?
Yes.
I think you can cancel the ESPN Unlimited Plus /
In theory, but I didn't jump right when you jumped.
Think you can.
Because I thought there might be issues right off the bat. So I have stayed on the sidelines. I will jump at some point soon. But we've also heard about, and there's a phrase for this that it's not coming to my mind, but about how these channels are going to be worked into the actual YouTube TV app coming up. And I'm most excited for that.
Yes.
As Landon and I just talked about, can we get a 36-box screen going on YouTube TV? I don't know. But
I want every live college football game that's physically possible on my screen at one time.
The prospect of potentially having a 4-box that has the SDSU game and Minnesota and Nebraska and USD all at the same time on my one screen, I'm very interested in that. That's what I want very much. So I think we're supposed to be getting that, but it sounds like it's going to be rolled out during the fall.
Get this done. This was announced a year ago.
Here's the thing, Travis. This is very clearly a big technological lift. They want to give this to everybody, but clearly I'm getting the sense that this is a lot harder than they even thought, and that's why it's taking so darn long. And I don't think we'll have it for week 1. I think it's going to be a painful thing here throughout the season, at least for the people that are football sickos like myself and Landon.
Because you don't need the stations they already have.
And you don't like half of college football anyway. You're not interested in a lot of these games, so you're not going to be that worried about it.
More so, I mean, the NFL, zero, but the college, a little bit. Can I get rid of my MLB TV subscription? That's in ESPN.
Not yet.
Can I get rid of it, or do I need it and it just shows up in there?
Which
I don't know.
I would have to say I'm glad because ESPN did take in MLB TV, but my setup for the Twins didn't change this year, which is good because then I can still watch. I didn't have any app problems being able to watch these games, but how is that going to go going forward? We don't know. So
maybe no blackouts will be part of the new collective bargaining.
Which hopefully
they've gotten, the Twins. You can watch the Twins now, and do I need to buy the special package or do I just get it all for free because I get ESPN Unlimited for free? I don't know.
Because if I'm paying ostensibly $30 a month for ESPN Unlimited, I agree with you. I'd like it to get me something, particularly in the doldrums, the June and July when baseball. I should have access to baseball, especially if you've got this deal.
The largest of all, $30, that's the largest streaming service out there. Is Netflix. You can do 17, 18, 20 plus with Netflix, but ESPN, $30. You may as well get cable for that. That's, not quite maybe 35, 40% of a cable bill.
But cable doesn't have a lot of this stuff too. Cable doesn't have ESPN. I guess if you have Midco, then you can get Midco Sports and you would have those games. But you don't have the away games. It's just
a poor rollout for ESPN and YouTube TV. The integration, Peacock. They just had the NBC Sports Network Peacock station. They put that into YouTube TV. There's no issues. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to put this Peacock station on YouTube, and it's a regular thing.
They stand up extra channels as needed.
Yes,
if
it's
there's extra games on there, yeah.
Why was that so easy? And this is not. I don't know. So
they have less. They have a lot less than ESPN Plus does, because when I want to watch Ferris State, Grand Valley State football in October, I want it to be there. Landon wants it to be there too. So come on.
I'm more of a Henderson State, Ouachita Baptist type of guy.
I knew the game wasn't sick enough for you. Fort Hays State against what was the team? Pitt State with the Gorillas. Yeah. So
do what Peacock did. Put a good.
They can't, Travis. It's hard.
They can't. It's very hard for them. They should fire more people then and figure it out.
Yeah.
Amateur baseball, Parkston, Kimmel White Lake opening night. Do you like the hamburgers? All the other
Coming
crap.
up next.
Oh, this is going to be on there. None of this is going to be on here. What else do you like besides the actual baseball? All the other accoutrements. Dave Brooks flipping the hamburgers. All this other stuff.
At this point, air-conditioned press box.
Hey, look at that. Maybe turn that on. It's going to be upper 80s. Maybe think about flipping a switch. Closing a window and flipping a switch.
And bring in your fly swatter because there'll definitely be some flies up there. Yeah. I do like the hamburgers and the onions. Underrated is in the past, I think you could get, I don't remember exactly what the deal was, but hot dogs 2 for $5, $6. I don't remember how that all went. That's a nice change of pace if you get tired of buttered onions on your burgers. But it's been many years since I've gone and just gotten a bucket of beers like so many people do, but that's pretty well, people like that as well. So
yeah, it's frowned upon in the press box.
I mean,
is it?
I don't know that it is. Landon.
These maybe back in 1982, probably not.
I can tell you about 4 years ago, it was still happening. So with some of our colleagues,
probably had like a Lennox Groton game there, and you're just tipping it back.
Just keep it moving.
Rain delay. It's 11 o'clock. Nobody cares.
So, yeah, no, I mean, I live 3 minutes from the stadium, so I'm never going to argue with having it in our backyard. It's obviously a huge point of pride for community and for Cadwell Park and all this sort of stuff. So it'll be fun to do that. Landon, you're from here. What do you think?
I'd never been to the stadium before I started covering it, actually.
Wow.
Is this your favorite? Where does this rank among state tournaments and events? It's like, this is my favorite thing all year. First,
I would say
second,
it's
third.
top 5 definitely.
Basketball,
I'd say
football,
top 3.
championship.
I have more of a connection to a lot of other things, so it's probably not quite as high on my list, but that's not because it's not good.
What else is?
But I grew up going to like the AA boys basketball tournament. That's always going to have like a special place. Like I love going to the Dakota Dome for state football championships, like because I grew up doing that. It's one of those things where you're gonna have soft spots for nostalgia, and I just don't quite have the nostalgia factor for the state amateur tournament, but that's not because it's not good. I've thoroughly enjoyed covering it.
It's newer.
The 5 years I've been with the paper, but that 5 years is not. I mean, even though I'm a youngin', it's not that long.
I think if I look at it through my point of view, which is the only way I can, and how I experience these events does matter to me. The amateur tournament being in Mitchell and there not being a lot of driving involved is a huge deal. That probably makes it number 1 to me. I agree with Landon. I love going to the Dakota Dome for 3 9-man championships in a day, but there's a 2-hour drive basically involved there and back for us. So that takes a little bit of the fun out of it. But I also think like going to a state basketball tournament and being there for 3 days, if you're not driving back, that's pretty good. I love that as well. So those are probably the 3 that are there. I know you could listen through all these podcasts and I probably bring up all these other events that are great too, where it's state wrestling championship day or it's state track meet. Those are fun as well, but the amateur tournament is pretty great when you think about just, players small across the state, some of these players that we've sort of been able to observe the backstory for. It's a lot of fun.
I particularly, one thing I will say, since it feels maybe like I poo-pooed on the amateur tournament and I didn't mean to, one thing I really enjoy about it is this gauntlet, right? Like I love the 4 days of 4 games in a day.
Yeah.
I just think that's really fun. Maybe not so much from the work perspective, but because it can be long days sometimes, but I do love you're going to a game and you're getting to the park at 10:45 in the morning, and if you want to stay there and watch all 4 games, you're probably not leaving until after 10:45 at night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with not much of a break in between in the afternoon either. So I think that's fun, and if you're an amateur baseball fan, or if you're just a baseball fan, this is probably the best time of year.
And there's some people that will be in the press box and they'll kind of be sickos about it of like, oh, we're here for the whole thing. It's like, I
live a life.
All hats off to them.
See
but
your
I like
family.
I like being there every day for a couple games a day. I don't need to be there.
Pick my spots.
I don't need to be there. We doled out our games the other day, and I'm there for each. I'm not working on Wednesday night, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I've got some games each day.
Maybe skip. Maybe you got to work, but Redfield. Burke.
Here's the deal. I'm going.
Redfield Burke.
I'm going to those games.
Nights.
So these guys. I guess you have Redfield Burke, but I like being there for. I like being there for the random Flandreau Cardinals Four Corners game. That may not be getting a ton of attention.
Lennox.
Yeah, I probably have that one too. But it's I like getting a couple games in these days. I don't need to be there, from post time to winner's circle in some of these because it's just like, come on, we'll be all right.
Coverage at MitchellRepublic.com.
We will cover all these games.
Yes.
So
game recaps of all of them. We won't. We'll have a lot of them.
Yeah.
Parks and Mudcats, Kimball White Lake, Alexandria, Wessington Springs, Mount Vernon, and the Parks and Rays. We'll be back next week. We'll take a look at quarterfinals, and the week after that is football.
I got one thing to bring up.
Bring it up.
I was home over the weekend, and
how much rain you get?
There was a lot, more than 5 inches.
We got we did not get that.
It was a soaker. But I was visiting my mom, and I believe my mom follows you on Instagram, and you've started doing these selfie videos.
I don't put it on it. Does it show up on Instagram?
Oh, it's on Instagram. That's
I put it on Facebook.
That's where I see it most days.
Is my Facebook? Did me link in the ESPN Unlimited YouTube link my Facebook to Instagram?
Facebook and Instagram are both Meta.
He didn't know that till just
everything
now.
Is just one.
So she sees
I put my Instagram, I had all my hats.
Yeah.
Because I had all my hats there quite some time ago.
So she sees this video from last week
Couldn't tell you
of
what
you
it was.
doing the morning sports.
Couldn't tell
and
you.
you're wearing a Lions hat and a Lions shirt.
Go Lions.
And she goes, is Travis a Lions fan? And I go, no.
Kind of.
You're not. Not in your heart of hearts, you're not.
It's like I'm an Astros fan. It's like the Astros
But I had to
Lions.
I had to explain this to her. That
I don't hate them.
As I've said to you, he's just a guy who wears the hats, and I have a different word for guy. And you're just
what letter does it start with? F?
A.
S? An A. Okay.
Oh, and D, but it's not dude.
Yeah. So I had to explain that because here's your messaging. And I'm sure you did one this morning. You have that Marlins hat on, but you're not wearing a, So if people are seeing that,
well, you should look at the one from 2 days ago.
You had I think the Pirates and the Giants or something.
Some guy commented, so are you a Baltimore Orioles fan or a San Diego Padres fan?
That's what it was.
I'd explain. I like the Twins. I watch the Vikings.
But I like the hats.
I have a lot of hats. Shirts and hats.
So I had to explain. I had to do some messaging on your behalf because
Quite the stunner.
It's confusing to people who don't know you, who don't know. If
they think they know.
If they listen to this podcast for however many weeks and months and years we've done this, they don't know that
a lot of hats.
This guy's just firing off the teams with no regard for fanhood or anything.
And if I'm wearing something, it's cheap.
Well, that's true.
This wasn't 34. It was cheap.
You didn't pay full freight.
No, if this was the Sioux City, what the hell did you buy the other?
Sioux City Ghosts.
Sioux City Ghosts, just a real deep pull. If I do Instagram Travis Kriens, I can't find it. I can't even find it.
You're in my feed.
I get more comments about that Sioux City Ghost hat than any other article of clothing I've ever worn.
What is this? Where did you get this?
And then I tell people about it, and they're like, that is so cool because it's a
your mom
former all-black softball team from Sioux City.
And I mean, look at this. Look at there it is,
isn't it?
Is that all 8 out of? Is that everything on? What happened to my hats?
They're there. They're there.
So was there? So if I. So what
everything
else?
You've been posting on your Facebook shows up.
So there's like the
they're linked.
Good. I don't look at anything with the Instagram, but it's good to know that it's there.
Here you are. On behalf of, this was 3 years ago, but our friends at James Valley Landscape Solutions, you're doing a live hit.
That was
you're doing a live hit.
Rainy, windy day. That's why the garage door is closed.
You're next to the garage door.
Dress up a little bit.
Talking to the people. You wore the nicest outfit anybody's ever worn.
Mother's Day. Dress up for mom.
That's right.
Yeah. It's humid in the
greenhouse. But then it's all the hats. It's Vancouver Canucks. It's Air Jordan. It's DW. It's the Wyoming Cowboys. The Wichita State Shockers.
Those are the deeper.
I don't know. Washburn. Yeah, that's a Kansas.
Nobody knows what Washburn is. So. That's good to know.
Been right by Washburn College
in Kansas.
Yep.
In Topeka.
Yeah. Good to know that the Instagram's being updated. So.
Well, then I know what you're wearing every day, even though I'm not.
So then I'll do my usual pictures and whatever I'll do for these games, and that'll be on the Instagram too.
Yeah.
So for Marcus, for Landon, for me, we'll be at Cadwell Park. What do you call this?
A podcast.